All right, what's going on, guys? We're almost done with day 7 of the live dividend stock picks. I am putting it all on my YouTube page, which we're about to jump to. But the first 7 stocks, we have over 4% dividend yield, which I think is really cool. So here is the very first one I posted just about 7 days ago. It says 6 days, but it was really 7 days ago, especially after you guys start watching this, because I'm posting this the next day. But Intel was the very first winner. We were between Intel, IBM, Dell, Garmin, and HP. This was for the tech sector. All of them did have a decent dividend, but Intel won by 40%. And let's just jump over to Intel. Again, we are focusing on the dividends regardless of what we think about the company. Most of them, just about all of them, are going to be big name brand companies. And that's the goal with this. I'm picking 20, well, not me, but you guys are picking 20 dividend paying stocks. And we're going to create a portfolio and see how it performs. Our goal is obviously to beat the S&P 500. But if we jump over to dividends, so again, forget about the financials, balance sheet, income statement, all of that. We're just focusing on the dividends. I know there's more to look at to a stock than just the dividends, but that's what we are focusing on. So we have a dividend yield of over 4.5%, which is really nice. The payout ratio is not terrible, just about 75%. And it does have a little bit of a dividend growth, which is nice. So I'd say Intel is probably a pretty good bet. I also think Intel will appreciate over the next couple of years. This is just my opinion. Last year was a killer for Intel. It lost a lot of value, but now with AI, and Intel could ride that wave and hopefully see some nice gains. It did bottom out, looks like in February at around $24.90 a share. So over the past month, it has gone up a decent amount. But I think it's a beat up stock. I think the dividend is strong. It's been consistently paying dividends for many years. So I would say this was a pretty good pick. So good job to all of you guys. The next one, so let's jump back over to the community page. Intel was the winner for the first one. The second one was ABIV. I don't even know how to say it, but ABBV is the ticker symbol. And this is for the healthcare sector. I'm surprised Pfizer or CVS or even Johnson and Johnson didn't win. I would have thought one of those three, probably Pfizer, to win, but it was ABBV, and then second place was Johnson and Johnson. But let's take a look at ABBV. What do we got going on here? And again, the stock has gone down this year. Not as bad as, well, that's just the day. Let's take a look at the year. So it's down a little bit for 1 year. Year to date, it's down a little bit, but nothing too crazy, nothing like Intel. But let's take a look at the dividend. We jump over. 3.62, that's not too terrible. The payout ratio is a little high in my opinion. Once you get over 80%, you're really kind of stretching your profit thin, and you're just giving out to all of your shareholders. And the dividend growth is over 7%. I really don't see this continuing too much longer. Dividend growth is going to have to go down a lot, or they're going to have to try to come up with more money so then they could pay their investors more. But other than that, I mean, it's not the worst option in my opinion. Dividend yield is still good. And again, they still have room for some growth. So 3.62, not terrible. But let's jump over to the next one. No shock here. JPMorgan won. JPMorgan, as most of us probably know, does not give any money to their actual customers. The savings account is a whopping 0.01%. Meanwhile, there's other banks that are giving a lot higher than that. But hey, I guess the shareholders get to enjoy it, because let's jump over to JP Morgan's dividends. 3%. Look at their payout ratio, only 33%. So they have a lot of money left over to do whatever they want with it. Probably paid Jamie Dimon a pretty penny. And their dividend growth is not that bad, but this 5% is obviously very sustainable, being that their payout ratio is so small. And again, the dividend growth, can't complain about 3%. I would say, and again, this is my opinion, but I'd say that is an almost guarantee. That is as good as you're going to get for almost guaranteed dividend payment every single year. Uh, People would say JP Morgan is one of those, too big to fail stocks. Everything going on in the banking sector, a lot of these regional banks are suffering, and a lot of people are seeing massive banks like JP Morgan as a safe haven. So a lot of money is going out of these regional banks into JP Morgan and other big banks. So this is probably one of our safest bets here. And again, I was not surprised that this made the list, but let's go on up. Next is for the industrial sector, and we have 3M winning. I wasn't surprised with this either. I mean, we do have some other pretty good brands here, but I think 3M is probably the most well known out of this list. But let's take a look at their dividends. So, well, I guess we'll look at how is it doing over the past year. It's down around 30%, so it is a beaten up stock, but that's some good value. Over 5%, almost 6% dividend yield. I think that is massive. And its payout ratio is very healthy, less than 60%. Very small dividend growth, though. Really not surprising. I don't think you're going to get too much higher than that 5.8%. That's kind of the upper echelon, but they could obviously afford it with less than 60% payout ratio. So I do have high hopes for 3M, and I think it is a pretty sound company. But again, this video is not to get into the details of that. We're just reviewing our top 7 picks so far out of our 20. Moving on to the next one. So this is consumer discretionary, and you could see it's between Ford and Best Buy, but my rules were after 24 hours, we pick who the winner was, and I'm logging it in the comments, and you could see after 24 hours, Best Buy won. It was neck and neck the entire time, and you could still see it's like that. I mean, they're tied right now, but when I logged it, Best Buy won. So let's take a look at it over the past year. Let's see. It's down a little bit. Well, it's down 20%, 18%, but that's not that bad compared to some other stocks. Let's jump over to the dividends. 4.73%, which is a very healthy number. Payout ratio is also healthy. Dividend growth is kind of crazy. I don't think it will continue to stay that strong with dividend growth, but they do have room to grow, and this is a very attractive dividend yield right now. So I'd say that was a pretty good pick. Let's move on to the next one. So we got to go back here. Let's back out. The next one is real estate, and this is no surprise. Realty Income Corp just blew the rest out of the water. No one gave Life Storage a single vote, but that's okay. Again, I wasn't surprised that Realty Income Corp was going to win here. This one is probably a fan favorite over the past year. It's only down 11%, which isn't terrible. And its dividends is 4.76%, which is really good. Now, you may be wondering, whoa, hold on. Payout ratio is 209%. That's because you got to remember this is a real estate stock. So you're not even supposed to necessarily look at the payout ratio. You're supposed to look at something else. I do have a video going over REITs. Check out that video if you're confused about the payout ratio. I explain it really well in there. And its growth, I mean, I just see this stock as a powerhouse when it comes to dividend payments. It has been paying dividends all the way since inception, which was back in, I think, 1990. It was either 1996 or 1994, somewhere around that. So Realty Income Corp, I don't see it going away anytime soon. I think this is a safe bet when it comes to dividend growth. And what's nice is it is a monthly dividend. So you get a payout every single month with this REIT. And the last one, it still has about 13 hours to go because we're only 9 hours into it. But that is for the energy sector. And right now, Chevron is winning. Chevron Corporation has 45% votes. ExxonMobil is a close second with 38% of the votes. I think Chevron will end up winning, but Exxon might win. So let's take a look at if Chevron wins, what are we talking about here? So over the past year, it's pretty much at the same level, which isn't that bad. Year to date, it is down a little bit. It's down 8 or 9%. So maybe it's a little beaten up. Could be a good buying opportunity. But if we look at the dividend, just a nice, easy dividend, 3.5%. Again, you can't complain about that. Its payout ratio is super low at 30%, and that's a healthy dividend growth, very reasonable. It could obviously maintain a steady growth throughout the years. So I would say if Chevron ends up winning this one, it'd be a really nice pick. Let's just jump over and let's just see second place, ExxonMobil. I think we all know ExxonMobil. You got a very similar case here. I mean, 3%, not that bad. Payout ratio is super low. Its dividend growth isn't as aggressive as Chevron, but that's okay. And if we look over the past year, it tells a much different story. It's actually up 30%. Year to date, it's pretty much at break even. So maybe this is a little overvalued, maybe not. But again, that's not what this video is for. But here are the results. So here are our top 7 winners. This one will be called tomorrow. By the time you're watching this video, you'll know if this one won or not. I think it ended up will winning. Here are the dividend yields, and here's the average. We got a whopping 4.3% for the average dividend yield right now, which I think is incredible. Our goal, I don't know what's going to happen, but I hope that after we have all 20 dividend stock picks, that we are over that 4%. That would be really cool to see, but I don't want that to necessarily influence your decisions. Pick whichever stocks you like the best for the polls. But right now we're sitting at 4.3%, which is really cool. So make sure to check out my community page to cast your votes. And then after we get all 20 stocks in, we will set up this live portfolio and we'll see what happens. All right, guys, if you like this video, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, I will see you in the next one.